In age 783, our warriors are faced with a new enemy. A successor even more genius than Dr. Gero created an enormous iteration of Cell thousands of times more powerful than the original. A foe that may have possibly been the strongest they've ever encountered in their history of battles. It was a great struggle, but in the end they are victorious thanks to a mysterious new energy. Finally, Son Gohan had truly awakened his power. He not only regained the peak of his ultimate transformation bestowed upon him by the Kaioshin, but unlocked a new mysterious form far more powerful than anything our heroes could have imagined. Similar, albeit different than the Super Saiyan 3 form, his hair grew several times over and shined a solid white, and his eyes turned into those of a beast. Now that the dust has settled, a new chapter begins. This mysterious power, that he has even yet to still fully understand, will not be sealed away again. And neither will it go unnoticed. Although busy training on Beerus' world, Goku and Vegeta have more than taken into attention this latest development.
That's enough for now. For the past week, I've been training my newfound power. What about you, Gohan?
From rewinding VHS tapes on lazy Saturday mornings to button mashing my way through pixelated side-scrollers, my childhood was shaped by 4 heroes and a half shell. Now, decades later, they're back. Not on a dusty cartridge, but in a full-blown modern RPG collab. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have officially entered the world of Raid Shadow Legends in an epic crossover with Paramount. From August 21st to November 13th, you can collect all 6 champions. The 4 turtles, Shredder, and yes, my personal favorite, it's April. Surviving 90s games, playing Raid is like getting a nice brain massage. Their auto battle feature is a huge quality of life improvement over other RPGs. And if you haven't started playing yet, now's the perfect time. Just scan these QR codes and use my link in the description to join in, and grab these TMNT rewards before they disappear. Back at a suit in his home office, Gohan explains to someone that as he already knows, a recent survey by Dr. Brung in the relatively unexplored Slatin Island, specifically in the southern archipelago, yielded the discovery of a very unique species of ant. Of course, this is a callback to what Gohan was studying in the superhero movie. When they assume danger or are threatened, they turn yellow and emit a faint aura. It's quite the extraordinary ability that you won't find in any other species of ant anywhere on Earth. That is, anywhere else besides this island. After he did some further surveying himself, it turns out that these ants are not a one-of-a-kind species. There are actually many different types of these ants that can each turn into different colors. Some can even turn into several colors in succession. For now, before they can be properly taxonomified, we'll refer to this genus as Saiyans, or Sai-ants for grammatics. Creeping on him through the window, Piccolo listens in to who is possibly the strongest mortal warrior in existence babbling on about freaking ants. Furthering that another interesting thing about this so-called Saiyan species is that some are more widespread on the island than others. The Namekian can't believe this. Again with this crap? It could be speculated that these ants use certain colors that are more threatening or powerful, so to speak, than others. Another possibility is that this is based on what the perceived threat finds the most intimidating. So for instance, the color... Flipping on the lights, Piccolo lets himself in to scold the Saiyan scholar. Is he seriously still staying up all night to do research on ants? Taken off guard. Apparently not wanting a 7-foot-tall alien, or at least an alien that's obvious he's an alien, in his video. He seems to close his laptop and asks if he minds. He's trying to make a recording. They'll talk to him later, instructing him to wait in the TV room and Videl will make him some water. Simply uttering,
Alright.
Gohan shushes him as to not pick up his voice on the microphone. After a few minutes pass, the three of them find themselves in the living room. Piccolo admits that he's just surprised, that's all. After what happened last week, he would have hoped that he changed and began training again. Gohan states that red ribbon thing was a mess for sure, but now they're back to the status quo like always. He was in the middle of a research project then, and now he still has to finish it. As Videl moves to place her coffee mug on the table in front of him, the half-Saiyan continues that luckily though, he's almost done. Once this is over with, he'll finally have some free time. Leading to the big question. When he has this free time, what will he do with it then? Sipping his glass, he remarks that if it quells his concerns, he has not forgotten what happened at the end of the battle back there. He's felt very different since that moment. It's strange. Even though he hasn't transformed again since, he feels as though the power hasn't left him. Pausing to listen, Piccolo reveals that when he reached that new form, at first he himself had trouble sensing his energy. The ki felt unusual, somewhat like divine energy, and yet it felt like something else entirely. Gohan also still doesn't quite understand what happened back there. If his friend hadn't come here today, the young family man would have sought him out before long. I'd like to ask him a favor. Help him find out what this new power is. The pair find themselves in a desolate wasteland. What looks like part of a castle or fortress lies in ruins in the background. Asking Gohan if he's ready.
Unleash your new form!
Stopping short of transforming, he pleads with his training partner to wait a minute. Who worries it could be something serious. But all it is his new form doesn't have a name yet. Annoyed, the spaceman growls that he guesses they could just come up with a name for it now then. Trying to figure out something quick, Piccolo calls his new form Orange Piccolo. Is that correct? And yeah, because he became orange. Since Gohan's form turns his hair white, he should be called White Gohan. But even Big Green thinks that's ridiculous. He squabbles to know what the problem with it is. causing his mentor to question if he has no shame. Don't copy his naming schemes. Not really being creative, he then thinks he can just swap around the adjective and noun and call himself Gohan White then. Not liking this much more. It's acceptable, although it may sound weird to say still. Powering up the Saiyan chortles. Well then. In this case, he'll call it Gohan Blanco. However, currently this pretty much just looks like what could be Super Saiyan White. What happened to his hair? Gohan doesn't realize what he means and only notes that it changes like all the other Saiyan transformations. But no, it was longer before. And his eyes, they're different now. Of course, since he doesn't exactly have a mirror to compare the looks. It's possible it's because he was so rageful before. Maybe since he's not so angry now, it's different. Whatever the case may be, nothing's going to get accomplished if they just stand around talking about their appearance. They should get down to business. Piccolo extends an arm and shouts that to really understand this new power and ability, nothing will be more effective than a good old-fashioned sparring session. Their goals are simple here. First, to revitalize Gohan's fighting prowess, and second, to see how proficiently he can control his power while in this Blanco state. For now, I'd like them to primarily focus on the second goal. He needs to match his power output to Piccolo's own. Even with his orange Piccolo form, Gohan still far surpasses him, so he's afraid they can't use the full extent of his power immediately. However, in exchange, this is of course a great opportunity for him to practice ki control. And just to make it fun, let's say the Namekian wins if at any point he uses any more than this current level of power. Up for the challenge. Gohan decides that's fair enough. They'll see if he can stick to this rule. Here he comes! Elsewhere, Vegeta and Goku stop in their tracks to hone in on the duo. This is the same enormous power as before. Judging by this, the last time wasn't just a fluke then. It really is Gohan's own power. And this time, there is no enemy. The two of them are just tapping back into the strength again by themselves. Looking a tad more serious than usual. Whis suggests that if Goku doesn't mind, they must not teleport away to meet Gohan yet. He wants them to take care of a few things here since he himself has some other matters to attend to. While Goku doesn't mind, doesn't the angel also think this is strange? That energy feels kind of odd. What is it? Who unveils that it's something rooted in his raw potential, much like Broly, but not quite the same. Vegeta finds himself eager to understand what he means. Is Gohan also some sort of legendary being? As ridiculous as it sounds, it might actually explain a lot. The Divine Being responds that Vegeta should be well aware by now that one does not need the help of a legend to reach astounding levels of power. That being said, he's also not entirely wrong. He will answer this question in full later. Goku queries if it's because he's a half Saiyan, so maybe this means he has some sort of special power that normal Saiyans don't have. The prince inserts that this would mean Goten and Trunks also possess the potential to unlock this power too. Which, even though Vegeta was just being condescending, maybe they do and they don't even know it yet. Or maybe Gohan might be something like a legendary half Saiyan. But that's preposterous. Regardless, there would have to be a legend to go along with the form, and no such half Saiyan legend exists in Saiyan mythology. It would be more likely that he's some sort of legendary human, and said legend has been lost to time. But no, Whis sternly states that this is a much different matter. Meanwhile, in Universe 11, the most powerful warrior in the Tournament of Power, Jiren, glances behind himself as something seems to be bothering him. What is the case behind Gohan's limitless potential? Whis appears to suggest that it has nothing to do with either a Saiyan or human biology. But what else could it be? And with Jiren, who not long ago was completely untouchable in all the multiverse, now being left in the dust by our heroes, has he been doing anything himself to keep up with this most recent surge of power?
Getting in on the action yet? And now? Just by logging in for 7 days, you unlock Michelangelo. Yes, that Michelangelo, completely free before October 30th. Don't miss it. TMNT meets Raid? This is every 90s kid's dream turned reality. If you haven't started playing yet, you're missing out. New players who download through my link or scan this QR code will immediately get a legendary champion Corrado, plus 3 more epics. Not a bad start to the game. On top of that, you get to pick 1 extra legendary using promo code Monkey King for Sun Wukong. Get Alice for Alice, Tree Hugger for Green Warden Ruark, or Desert Queen for Tudanark. Personally, I'd recommend Sun Wukong since he's a strong all-arounder. With so much content, my clan, the Mondo crew, is just getting started on their own mission, so come join me in the game.
Feelings are often hard to describe. Never once has Gohan questioned the nature of many mystical energies he and others have constantly used in abundance. Yet now, He turns to an old mentor to solve a riddle he somehow desperately wants to know the answer to.
What is this new power?
As if the power itself imbued him with a sense of duty so that he may seek answers.
This canyon to shake them off, and yet at the end there's more than there was at the start.
Purely dodging is a futile strategy here, Gohan! Because I'll just make it so even more chase you down! Tuh. Huh. Even with this much power, you still have much to learn.
Thinking about his student's progress. You should have gone on the offensive and directed the attacks back at me instead of running away. Realize that it was not the energy balls that concerned you, but me, your opponent. Always consider what your opponent will do at every moment of battle. Just goes to show no matter what your level is, battle strategy proves to be ever as important. But anyway, he asked me to help him figure out his power. He's been able to keep up this exact same level of power throughout our whole sparring session. It's still quite impressive. Honestly, I would have a real difficult time if I were in his position. I was expecting him to exceed it right from the start.
Wait! I can't sense his energy! Could it be that he's... No, that's not it! Ah!
Piccolo almost getting dropped on.
Well, you seem relatively unscathed. How did you escape my homing energy missiles? Don't tell me you cheated and increased your power level.
Ha! Quite the opposite actually, Piccolo. You see, I reduced my energy to near zero, which is why I'm pretty sure you could barely sense me at all. But the thing is, I did that by releasing all my energy at once, in one concentrated form. I hoped your homing missiles would track that raw energy I released, and indeed they did. The final explosion managed to be just far enough away from me to be mostly unharmed. After that, I kept my energy low to sneak up behind you, and here we are. Looks like you're as sharp as ever, Piccolo. Amazing how you were able to counteract at the last second.
Our sparring session is over now. And I think I've learned enough about your power to come to a conclusion.
After headbutting Gohan, Piccolo mentions how his ki control is very impressive. Unnaturally impressive. He explains that Gohan is able to keep his energy at a consistently low level despite the pressures of battle. And at the end, he released all of his energy in an instant,
only to charge it back up in another instant. These are things that even Piccolo admits he himself would have a very hard time doing. Namek then asks how Gohan managed such a high level of ki control with barely any training as of late. Who admits he's not sure. He says it just felt like intuition. In a fight, you just do what you feel works. But Piccolo isn't convinced. Intuition doesn't explain the capability to pull off such control in the first place. Regardless of how strong Gohan may be, he should still need to train to develop ki control skills like that. Reflecting further, it's obvious now that Blanco is not a simple power-up, which is why Gohan has felt oddities about it. He believes this new form provides Gohan with unnatural talents. So far, they've only seen it affect his ki control, but there could be more to what this form does. He comments that Gohan has also been fighting rather well for not having fought for a long time. While Piccolo would like to think that maybe simply a Saiyan blood at work, this form could also be allowing him to instinctively fight at a higher level than normal. Gohan reasons that would mean it's similar to his dad's Ultra Instinct, doesn't he think? Apart from the visual resemblance, that form also allows users to fight without thinking. His teacher agrees it could be similar, but it's distinctly different in some ways. Ultra Instinct bears a heavy stamina burden, while Gohan showed basically no signs of fatigue. And although he's been fighting at a really high level, he highly doubts his body, quote, moves on its own. Nonetheless, that's exactly where he's getting at. Since Blanco bears a strong resemblance in form and function to an angelic form, then the obvious next step of their quest is to consult an angel. Sitting. Alright then. Gohan smirks. That's where we're headed next. Meanwhile, in Universe 11. Toppo, or Top in the English dub, appears to address a conference full of spectators wearing the Pride Trooper uniform. Turning to a one-eyed guy. That was a pleasant introduction speech you gave, Mike. Who smiles in return. The floor is all his. And Mike? Wazowski? Ahem. The god of destruction and training begins. I'm very happy to see that many of you have come on such short notice. As Lieutenant Wazowski said. So yeah, Wazowski. We are gathering here today to celebrate our recent victory on planet Guago. Although many of you participated in relieving the planet from terrorist occupation, many more of you were also not there. So I will inform you all briefly that this event was one of the toughest battles in Pride Trooper history. Planet Guago's civilization mainly resides under the surface, and its Earth is far from stable. And yet the enemy fortified themselves deep into the Earth. Earth meaning the mantle or soil, and not like the name of the planet. We had to be careful and yet strong. Some of our operations involved things outside the expected field of expertise of your average trooper. We had to survey the Earth, dig tunnels, and fight in tightly packed close quarters with minimal use of ki. All while in the dark, grimy tunnels of the planet. In the end, many challenges and obstacles caused a relatively weak enemy to take a 3-month planetary-wide siege, and 12 months of cleanup operations to fully eliminate the terrorists. I hope you all now have at least a small picture of the event, and why it calls for celebration that it concluded just 3 days ago. But in truth, that is not the only reason I have called you all here today. Today, I am announcing my retirement as Commander-in-Chief of the Pride Troopers. Lord Belmont has been eager to retire and name me his successor for years now, but I have always kept pushing back so that I may continue to be a servant of justice. But now I think I've delayed this long enough. It is time for me to answer the call of Lord Belmont and fulfill an even greater duty. I thought the end of the Siege of Guago would be a fitting time to retire. And indeed, I promised that to Lord Belmont over a year ago. So as a parting gift, I give you all a celebration for the ages. As a god of destruction, I will no longer need personal wealth or property, and so much of this comes out of my own pocket. But our elite have made some generous contributions as well. For the whole of this week, there will be 12 tournaments for all levels of strength, races across the planet's oceans, skies, and this system, and numerous games and shows for all of you to enjoy. And of course, we will be hosting only the finest food and drink from across the universe. We even have some treats from Earth of Universe 7, in limited supply. Finally, this is not just an event for us troopers, but also for the whole planets as well. So be welcome to invite your friends and families nearby here to spectate or even join in on the battles. I shouldn't waste your time any further. You're dismissed. Go have fun, comrades. But Commander! A voice interrupts. Commander Toppo, who will succeed you? Oh, of course. I forgot to address that, That will be up to the Council of the Elite to decide. I have resigned to have no say in the matter. I promise that they will choose the most worthy trooper to succeed me. Anyway, you are all really dismissed now. I am no longer your commander. The next time we meet, I will be your lord and god of destruction. A woman asking, how in the multiverse did they get their hands on Earth food? Who cares how? I'ma try some. Some hours later. A group of troopers calls out to Jiren. They've been looking for him. Toppo said there'll be a council to determine the next leader of the Pride Troopers. Does he know anything about it? And about who's involved and who the candidates are? But he doesn't. In fact, today's the first time he's even heard of this council. Which is strange to one of them and infuriating to another. The other elites must be purposely leaving Master Jiren out of the discussion. An accusation Jiren shuts down immediately, warning him not to think ill of their fellow troopers. Apologizing. Jiren admits he doesn't make himself available very often. It would be wise of them not to burden themselves with having to wait for his input on their decision-making process. Though it's argued Jiren should at least make sure they nominate him. He'd make a great leader. His fangirl from earlier reminds that a lot of the troopers think he's all brawn and no brains. If he becomes commander-in-chief, he can demonstrate leadership and more will respect him. Though he doesn't care about commanding respect, he'd rather show it. It's Toppo's will to have a successor chosen by the council independent of any third party. Walking off, he finishes that if he himself gets involved, it'd be going against his will. That would be disrespectful. They really shouldn't be thinking too much about this. For now, they should just enjoy the festivities. Just remember
to never lose sight of improving yourselves.
Passing Toppo, the Destroyer comments.
You know I saw you back there.
Was he really just meditating in the theater hall for 5 hours? Does he have no respect for the celebrations he's prepared? Only responding.
Toppo. I wasn't meditating.
I was sleeping. If I was meditating, I'd probably cause some damage to the place. My presence alone is enough of a show of respect for these events. You should know I don't care much for these sort of things. Catching up with him, Toppo believes there's no use in trying to get him to participate. At the same time, he doesn't seem to be in much of a rush to leave. And why should he hurry? Jiren asks. But if he's gonna stick around, Toppo would like to have a chat with him. Asking where he's headed after this, Jiren tells he's going for a round of training on planet Susa. The environment there is quite unique, somewhere Toppo's never heard of. And of course not, Jiren discovered it and named it himself. Well anyway, you've changed a lot over the past 3 years, Jiren. You've taken pupils, joined others in battle without them calling for you, and participated in our events, even if it's just your presence. A far cry from your lone wolf days, don't you think? Yeah, I guess I've changed a bit, he responds. So I was thinking, then perhaps the next step in your progress is to take on a leadership role. Asking what he's saying. I was lying about the council thing. The truth is I haven't fully decided on a successor yet. I'm in the process of asking around those who I see have potential, if they are willing. From there, I'll narrow it down to who I think will make the best leader among them. I admire your seriousness, Jiren. I'm not just looking for a successor, but someone who can bring a fresh look to our organization. Your great power and potential also do a lot in your favor. So what do you say? Would you be willing to take leadership of the Pride Troopers? But no. Silence follows. Toppo's bewildered. He's not even going to consider it just for a moment. Jiren comments. Actually, you're wrong, Toppo. I haven't changed. At the end of the Tournament of Power, Son Goku opened my eyes to the power of others. He taught me that solely relying on myself is not the only path to power. Others could help me become even stronger. That is what changed for me. But my sole goal in life has always been the same, and I will never lose sight of it. I have always, and always will, seek ultimate power. Because power is the only truth in this world, and that is an absolute fact. Leadership would only endow me with responsibilities that would distract me from this goal, so I must decline so I may continue to focus on my path. I hope you understand. His opposite has to ask why though. Barring the angels, he might as well be the strongest in the universe already. Why continue to seek strength when you're already so strong? And that's something he can ask the Saiyans. Has he even been paying attention to the energies from Universe 7? But he hasn't. He doesn't think he can sense energy from that far away. So to put it simply, Goku and his allies have become exponentially stronger over the last 3 years. In fact, the power they displayed during the Tournament of Power is now insignificant, at least compared to what they can do now. What? Really? With that understood, Jiren knows he's far from being the strongest, and there is still much more to achieve. There's no reason to stop seeking strength. Reflecting on how amazing Universe 7 is. Toppo accepts Jiren's reasoning, telling him to walk his path of strength. He won't object if that's what he desires.
coordinates are set. Uncharted system, CI-2160, MG, Planet Hawk.
That power. It's Goku's sons, I believe. It's different from the rest of their power-ups. The most peculiar thing about this one is that I feel like I felt this exact wavelength once before. Moreover, I remember that feeling comes from that time long ago. A part of me thinks it's insignificant somehow, but why that would be, I cannot fully remember. Now maybe it's just nothing. But I refuse to be uncertain. Slamming her hand down. Bulma and Gohan talk. The former explains how it's no use. Whis' communicator must be broken or something. She hasn't been able to get this thing to work since Gohan and the others fought the Red Ribbon Army. Wondering how they're gonna get there then. She questions if they're sure they don't want to use a spaceship. She can get one ready within the hour. But no way, that'll take weeks. Gohan's break ends in just 2 months. He can't be wasting so much time just traveling around space. It's such a shame though. They could get there themselves in 2 hours. The only problem is they can't breathe in space. Piccolo believes he has a workaround solution. We could still use the ships, but instead of using propulsion, we can just push the ship from the inside with our power. She worries, wouldn't that be kind of dangerous? You might damage the ship and risk getting stranded, or worse. Honestly, you should just wait. They'll probably come around in a day or two for Earth food anyway. Hedo taking off the welder's mask. He beckons why they don't just use spacesuits. The only problem is breathing, right? Something Bulma's surprised she didn't think of. He offers one of his own that he made in his spare time. Just place them in the center of their chest and press it. The suit will conform around their body. The oxygen only lasts for 12 hours, which should be more than enough for them. Happy with that, Gohan shakes his hand, chiming. Oh man, thanks a lot, kiddo. But the name's Hedo, and he's actually 3 years older than him. Blasting off. What can Whis tell our heroes about this Blanco form and its relationship to Ultra Instinct? The Palace of Grand Zeno, the Omni King. One week ago. Watching in on the battle against Cell Max and the resulting new forms of Gohan and Piccolo. Grand Priest beckons. You know what this is, right? Whis watching it, the latter answers, yes, I do. Allow me to take care of it. This is a concern and must be dealt with. His father not arguing, he turns to leave. All right, I trust you, Whis. What in the world could he mean by this is a concern and must be dealt with? And seeing Gohan happily with his daughter. He powers down and takes a seat. Perhaps it can wait. Back in the present on Beerus' planet,
With a determined look in his eye, Goku asks, "Are you sure about this, Vegeta?"
Without a doubt! Gohan and Piccolo are going to land right over here!
But what makes him so sure? In contrast, Goku contends that he thinks it's more likely he'll land over in this spot instead. The pair find themselves arguing about who can predict a fighter's movement better. Goku even jabs that Vegeta only won their last spar because he got the last slice of pizza before the fight started. And besides, Gohan is his son. He knows him better than the prince. But is that a joke? He hasn't even seen him in years! In the middle of their bickering, with Gohan landing far behind him, looks like neither one of them were right. Not letting it go, Vegeta sneers that he landed closer to his spot. Either way, Gohan and Piccolo explain their reason for arriving here. Tough luck. Whis left an hour ago. Or 3 hours ago. That was just before Gohan left Earth. This is some serious bad timing. Though they're confident he'll be back soon. He's never away for more than a couple hours at a time. Given the downtime. Gohan suggests the perfect way to use his time. And he's asking for a sparring match, right? His dad mentions how they sensed that he sparred with Piccolo on Earth, but he wasn't able to use his full power. Here with him and Vegeta, he'll be able to fight without limiting himself at all. But actually, he was thinking he'd spend this time studying this planet's ecosystem. He hasn't studied alien biospheres before. Not to mention, this is a divine world as well. It'll be pretty interesting to find out how life might be different here than it is on Earth. But a couple of hours is plenty of time for him. And he doubts they'll fight for long, so Gohan guesses that can wait, accepting the match. Cheering his son for hanging up the nerd jacket for a minute. He reiterates that he means it. Don't worry about holding back and go all out. His new power is incredible, but Goku doesn't think he surpassed he or Vegeta just yet. You're not joining us, Piccolo. If they're as strong as they say they are, I probably won't stand a chance alone.
Have some confidence in your own power. They'll probably go easy on you, since this is for you to learn.
Maybe you're right. You might make some interesting observations from the ground anyway. Goku tells Vegeta, don't go easy on him. Remember, this is for him to learn.
As if I will. I'd say this is more of an opportunity for us. Don't you think? We haven't fought anyone else aside from the same handful of people for years.
His rival chortles said he may be right about that.
Don't forget, you guys are fighting in the air to avoid too much destruction on Lord Beerus' planet.
Goku compliments his son.
He's managed to face off against both of them at the same time. But don't get cocky yet. Vegeta chimes in. That's right! That was just the warm-up! Huh? What just happened? This must be... Dad's Ultra Instinct! He thinks to himself how incredible this is. Even though power level-wise he's weaker than himself, his speed is far above his own. He's being totally overwhelmed. But that's only because he took the initiative. Gohan can still. Close the gap! With Goku anticipating the attack. He meets Gohan on the ground commenting he can see he's having a bit of trouble. How about a break? Who catches his breath that he'll take what he can get. Piccolo said you'd go easy on me. I guess that only means both of you aren't going all out on me at once. Well, don't get too mad at me. His dad starts. Like it or not, you still have to understand your power. I have to push you hard like this. You have a habit of not using your full power until the most desperate moment. Not to mention, when it's easy for you, you let it get into your head. Who argues? Oh, come on! I don't do that last part anymore, at least. I was still a teenager back then. I'm over it now. Continuing. Anyway, you may say it's too early to make a judgment, but I feel like I'm confident that your power is not superior to that of Ultra Instinct. I know you've been beating me up, but the fight isn't over yet. Or are you just pushing me, but in a psychological way this time? But no, his father means what he says. Then questions if he ever explained to him what Ultra Instinct is. Which he hasn't, but he thinks he understands. It's when your body moves on its own, right? But that's an oversimplification. Normally to move fast, we speed up the nerve signals that are sent across our body with ki. But no matter how fast we may try, we still need time to carry those signals, which delays our movement by a small but significant factor. In Ultra Instinct, I can completely bypass this delay because I don't use my nervous system at all. Once I make an intention in my heart to act, my body automatically moves as fast as it can, as if my spirit and body are completely united. So the only things that delay this movement are one's physical limits and energy output, and an imperfect state of mind. Doubts that dissolve clear intentions. So you can imagine, the greater half of my training for this involves training the mind. Explaining more would be difficult. But in essence, Ultra Instinct provides the user with a decisive speed advantage over any opponent with relatively similar strength. This is why I believe it to be the ultimate fighting technique. So maybe, instead of trying to understand whatever your new form is, it might be better to use your renewed interest in training and trying to develop Ultra Instinct yourself. sides. I think that's the only way you could possibly win this fight.
So for the next part, we're just gonna pretend I'm the author. Oh hey, I didn't see you there. So unfortunately, I can't continue doing Dragon Ball comics. For reasons. But as a sign-off, let's go over what Blancoverse's story was supposed to be. So we ended in the middle of Chapter 3, the Goku vs. Gohan fight. It was gonna be really cool. In the end, Goku is going to do the Ultra Instinct Dragon Fist against Gohan Blanco's Masenko.
Fine, I'll add some more.
Goku was about to win, but then Gohan got a power boost from a mysterious figure. And no, it's not C from Dragon Ball Multiverse.
So, Whis.
The sparring match finishes and cut to Zeno's palace. It's revealed that beings outside the multiverse are being drawn to Gohan Blanco's power. Grand Priest has orders from his superior to eliminate Gohan Blanco if he appears in his multiverse. So Whis should have killed Gohan, but he failed in his duties. However, after billions of years, GP doesn't care about his superior anymore, so the Grand Priest doesn't mind. Instead, he'll make a deal with the incoming invaders.
Blah blah blah.
Later, Whis lies to Gohan about his power, saying it's all just his potential. But Gohan's smart and doesn't buy it.
Your training is complete. Now go away.
Side story, Vegeta takes Broly to Universe 6.
I'll go with this high roll.
Vegeta meets with the King of Sadala in Universe 6. His name is Rolf. They make a deal to allow Broly to stay on the moon, relatively uninhabited moon. I think that's a typo of Sadala, and Vegeta leaves. Back on Earth, Gohan decides to use his vacation to catalog ants, since he has no leads on his new power. But he finds a strange cave.
Yo.
In it, he finds Zalama, creator of the Super Dragon Balls.
So you see.
Another plot reveal. Zalama explains that he gave Gohan this power to defeat a godlike being known as El Grande Padre. I'm working on that accent. Give me time. El Grande Padre is a being who desires to consume the entirety of reality. Many years ago, though, Zalama sealed him into a prison. But his power continues to grow, and someday he'll break free. Gohan is to be Zalama's knight in shining armor and go on a quest beyond the multiverse to find a way to restore Zalama's power so Zalama can complete the sealment of El Grande Padre. However, he needs someone who he can trust. Someone who will stop at nothing to achieve the goal in his heart. Zalama does not see that yet, and so he refuses to give Gohan the full extent of the Blanco form's power. Then Zalama disappears. Gohan is stunned. Was this a hallucination? So he asks Dende to help him confirm if the story's true. Dende searches divine text for records of such a story, but he finds nothing. But he does find the location of a secret library who nobody, not even the angels, have ever entered. Perhaps the answers are here. So time for an adventure to Otherworld. Meanwhile, Broly's getting attacked by a squad of the King's assassins. They use a special bracer that inhibits his power, but Broly still gives him a strong fight.
Will release his rage now.
The King has to get involved. And in the end, Broly is killed. Vegeta arrives back, but it's too late. He promises that the King will have to pay for what he had done. But later, Broly can still be revived anyway. Back in the Otherworld, Gohan and Piccolo face the Guardian of the Library. Eventually, Gohan figures out that the way to pass through the Guardian is to only admit the Blanco form's special key. The truth of the Blanco form is proven.
I've been expecting you.
The keeper of the library, Monsieur Krabs, has been waiting for Gohan Blanco. A new training begins now.
It's been a long time, my dimwit brother.
But they must be quick as an unexpected visitor arrives. It's El Hermano, Jiren's long-lost brother. He explains that he is here to test the power of Gohan Blanco. He and his left familiar also desire to stop El Grande Padre, but they believe resurrecting Zalama is unnecessary. For them, there is no need for so-called gods, for the only thing that matters in this world is power. If Gohan cannot meet his standards, then he will be executed. El Hermano also sends armies to the top 5 planets with the strongest beings to test their strength. For fun. With so little time to learn the secrets of the Gohan Blanco form and the intricacies of the world beyond the multiverse, Gohan decides to face the threat head on. He meets Vegeta on Earth and suggests they go somewhere else, lest they be attacked by El Hermano's army. Vegeta obviously suggests them to go to planet Sadala in Universe 6. A great battle is about to ensue. Case in point, a planetary battle begins on planet Sadala. Jiren is sent as a spearhead to face off against the big three: Goku, Vegeta, and Piccolo. King Rolf reluctantly helps him and mobilizes a Saiyan army for the defense. All while Gohan Blanco faces off against several monsters El Hermano designed to test his strength. Eventually, Gohan accepts the mission to help Zalama unlock the strength to defeat the monsters. But El Hermano is still not pleased and threatens to destroy the multiverse with a single punch. Fortunately, Zalama appears just in time to show El Hermano a vision of the future. El Hermano sees his fate and withdraws from the multiverse. With the battle won, Gohan prepares to go on an adventure and the end. Indeed, admittedly, it's quite a silly story. My inspiration was to take a silly concept and make it as serious as possible. Here are some more not-so-minor details that I left out of the summary. The Grand Priest deal is that he would allow El Hermano to do as he pleased with only minor resistance. This would end up leading him to fighting all the gods of destruction and easily beating them all. The reason why the King of Sadala wanted to kill Broly was simply because he didn't want to risk such a powerful threat nearby. Hailing Jiren as he went to his secret spot to meet his brother. The Zenos would be revealed to actually be puppets. Their universe-ending power is given to them by the Grand Priest. The Universe 11 Pride Troopers would also be involved for the final battle, hence there being a lot of them depicted in Chapter 2. Toppo would obtain an angel staff and lead the Pride Troopers against El Hermano's armies to save the other 4 planets that he targeted across the multiverse after successfully defending their own. Rolf also wanted to strategically eliminate one of Universe 7's powerful warriors. He's just a really meticulous guy. So, the short version is, El Hermano became kind of a meme after some fans jokingly suggested he was Jiren's secret brother. Then El Grande Padre is a little more of the same. El Hermano literally means brother, and El Grande Padre just means, like, great father or something. When the Tournament of Power was airing, there was a rumor that the Grand Priest was going to turn out to be evil and the true antagonist of the arc. So that's what Florento, the creator, was going for here. Then Gohan Blanco or White is just another rumored new transformation. I actually have a Goku White action figure that I bought before Ultra Instinct was ever revealed. Anyway, my interpretation of this is that it's mostly just a big love letter to the Latin Dragon Ball fan community, where most of these rumors originate. Which is even more amazing when you consider Florento is apparently Indonesian. Leave it to Dragon Ball memes and rumors to inspire people worldwide. Except the Rolf thing. That's either just a random meme or a reference to Peter Kalamis voicing both him and Goku at one point. But anyway, even after like 7 years, I still don't have a proper sign-off. Bye!